So hi everybody and welcome back to the Unreal Engine 5 full game tutorial series for absolute beginners. This is video 55 and in this video we continue with our tables. In our last video we created these tables and now we want to use these tables where we have added this content with this text and this waves, and let's see how we can use it. First of all, what we want to do is we have one blueprint. Let's go to the right blueprint. I go here to the blueprint which I created in my folder gameplay. That was the first blueprint, and instead all time to duplicating this blueprint and assigning a new widget for it, we use only one blueprint, this one blueprint. That's our goal. But what we do is we use make many instances of this blueprint, which means we have still one blueprint, but we're dragging out from this one blueprint all the places which we want, and then we will assign in these places all the instructions which we want here and here and here. But you can see important is we are using just one blueprint, and as well important is we are using one widget which we use in this blueprint, and here it is only one widget now instead of all time duplicating and creating for every place a separate widget. This is more effective. All right, and we have now created this table, and now we go to this specific one blueprint. Let's go to it again. Let's open this one up, and that is the blueprint here which we use. And to use this table here, it's very simple. We need only one node, and this node is called get data table row. And you have just to set this up, and that's it. And how we set this up? Let's right click. Let's write data table. I write data table, and when you scroll down here, instruct, it says here get data table row. So this get data table row is exactly showing us how we can use our created tables here. So first of all, we go back to our blueprint, and then you select what you want to use. It is asking here for the table. Here, this is my data table which we created in our last video. Let me show you this fast. What we did there, we have created here a folder, and then in this folder we called it data table, and this data table needed the struct. The struct is just to create this data table, but we are using just this data table, and then you are assigning this data table, in my case gameplay table, not this test, that was just for test. And now that's it. With this node, you are just assigned a table. And interesting is here, row name, you can select now one of these rows. So let's open this one fast up. You can see the row name is here. And now here in this data table, you can select one of this row. Here is use lighter. And to use it, of course, we have here an output pin. The other pins here says only if we found the row, you can continue. If we found not the row, you can say, for example, print string debug, print string, and say at debug info, let's say found not row, something like that. Found not row. And here, important is this node here, because this node here is getting info what you want to use. And when you can drag this out, then choose one of these selections. For example, this one here, break struct gameplay table. Break means it is splitting it. So you choose this one, and now you can see you have now access to that what you have defined in your table. So you have here the source string, the source wave, and we can use it. You can use it now to assign it to your widget. You can use it to assign this wave to your sound, and very easy. But you can see in my version I used it differently, because instead of creating here an additional node, which is also good sometimes, I just selected here with right click. So I hovered my mouse over this pin, right click, and then you can also choose this feature here, split struct pin, and you can see it's built in this node, which is sometimes nice for organization purposes. But that's it. That's it, how to use a table. Now, that was step one. Step two is now how we bind this table use in our gameplay. That is our step 2. So our gameplay is, I want to walk here in, and then at this position, this blueprint should spawn, for example, my first row. It says here use lighter. How we bind this in? All right, let's go over the step phase 2. And to go through, we start from the start here. And yeah, let's get into it. So let's compile and save. That all works. So my character is coming in. It is overlapping with the collision box here. All right, that is this step here. We have already talked about it. Then after this one, I created just a sequence. A sequence means just you want first that this line should execute. After this line is finished, this program is not stopping. It is jumping back to this second line and it executes this line. And I need this sequence just to check for tags. And what is this tag check? And you can see when we create here different instances of my blueprint class. Let's go back to this blueprint class. This blueprint class, we have only one. And I place this here all over the place. You see, this is all time one blueprint. And now we have to find a way to distinguish them. Because when I walk into this box, I want that my character shows perhaps this row here, this first row. And if my character is walking in this box here outside, perhaps I want that my character shows this row here. To do this, we use just the built-in tag system from Unreal Engine. There are different ways also. I use this way here. And how we make this. This tag system is very simple because I use careful tag system. There are different tag systems in let's say different use cases of tag system. What you have to do is, because we have here instances, right? And I want that this instance has another tag name than this instance. You have to choose now, after you finished your placing the blueprint here in your scene, so like this one. So you choose one. So let's make it here. Let me show you this, right? So let's say I have here this one, we can keep this. Let's say I want make here one more here on the corner. I don't know, I want make. So what you do is you take your blueprint, you place it here, and now I have to distinguish this one from the other one, right? To do so, I go now here in details panel. This is selected because this is an instance. Then I write here in details panel, selected this one on top tag. And when you write tag, it pops up this tag little options here. And then you press here this plus and give this special place a name. And in my case, I give it the name of which row I want use, because let's say I want use here also use lighter. Then I would call this probably, oops, let me go here, this tag name use lighter, and use lighter. So now this here use lighter this name must be unique, because you want to distinguish that one. So let's call this use lighter 2, because or let's say use 1. Let's call this one use 1 for fun. So, and when I click on this other one here, I call this, for example, find cultist, and let's see if I have, yes, I have this row find cultist, and I make the same name here only for the purpose that I know which row I want use at this place. This is just for organization purposes. Of course, you can choose here whatever tag you want later. But okay, I hope we understand now why we need a tag system just to distinguish these positions, right? Here is another position here. And one more note to this tag, you have to do this with every position. You have to select this, create here a tag, and if you add a new again, for example, let's say I make here something 2, then you select this one, you go here on top, select all, write tag, and then you can add here the name for this place, again, place place 3 or something like that. And now we have this. The next step is we go back to our blueprint, and you can see I use after the sequence. The sequence here is just checking now every placed blueprint in your level. I don't know if this is the best setup. I just made it fast as a prototype. So the sequence will go here, 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 and check which what this instance has for a tag. So, and you can see this here. It goes here, and then I used a branch, and the branch check node is actor has tag. So you have to use this. You right click and write actor has tag. And important is here you check which actor you want activate. For example, here when I click on this one, it says here find cultist. Okay, this one is find lighter. So this is not find cultist, is here. And then you if this tag, so which means this one will be activated here, because if this is true, it will say here, yes, this is true, you can go on. And if this is not true, for example, it was find lighter, it will say here false. Okay, we get this. And then let's continue. So this whole system here is just check the tags what you have to select something. Oops. And then the next step is again, I use the do once node, and I explained this already. When you are walking with your character over this one, you want only that this overlap should happen one time, because your character could overlap again and again when you are walking here around, right? And this do once node makes only that you are overlapping one time. And then we come back to the the node which I explained to you before. It is just this the table node, and now we selecting this table here again. You right click, write data table, get to this node here, get data table, select the table which you created. In my case, let's select this gameplay table here. This is this one. And now we have another step to do. So, and here we can right click this one here too. So I have this two data available, the string and this we will assign in a moment. But before we assign that, we can select here manually, but this is in general bad, but I still select manually in a different way. This is also manual select. And here I want that if this tag here was found with this name here, then this tag should select, for example, that what I want at this place. And if you are wondering why I not just select here in this place here and make something so complicated like this one, so build a string, because what I do here is right click, you can write build string, and now you can write exactly which row you want at this place. So at this place I say find lighter, I need the string use lighter. Okay, use lighter is here my row name. At this point I want use that you provide me this information and this information. All right, so let's write here use light. Oops, not here, careful, and this was wrong, this is integer. We need here build a name. We need here this name here, build string name, because normally it's a string but name will be converted. The string can be converted to name. So you choose here build string, but this one is just optional. You can choose it, make it different. I make it this way. In a moment I explain why. Let's write here first the row which I want choose. I want choose at this position. Use lighter was it, right? Because that's very important here. Find lighter, and this name should perhaps match later too, but not necessarily. At this position, let's say use lighter, and this one will be searched later. Very important that this one match this what you have there. And then here I can connect it this one, and you can see I made it so complicated. The question is, wait a minute, why you are doing this so complicated? You can just select it here, use lighter. You can see use lighter and use lighter is the same thing. Why I make here so a complicated way? And the reason is very simple. You can see this looks a little bit strange, right? I want to collapse this whole thing here in a function, in one little node, and it looks later like this. And the selector I have to provide from outside, because we are not allowed, when we collapse here functions, change whole time. We don't have to open up and can change here. It is already set. Only the start settings, the inputs, and the outputs are important, and all other things should be set, and it is set. So that's why I have created this strange input here, which is outside, and all the other parts I will collapse to this little function here because that's easier. But let's continue. So right now I have created now my little table select, and the other part which comes now, let's continue from here. The other parts which comes now is just using the table data which is provided. So you can see at this point I have selected here this one, use lighter. All right, here use lighter is coming. Use lighter, I have now this string, source string, and source wave is provided, but with this info here and this info here, we can not see it here because we see here only the this top line, this row line. But we know that at this point we will get this info because we know which row we have, right? And now, depending on this row, you can just spawn them, and you spawn them just normal here. Let's start with our string. Oh no, let's start first with our sound. You can see I just take the sound here. So here is the sound from this table. It gets from this here. It gets this table here. It is here now, and then I use here again spawn like before. You can of course also play, but play is bad because you can't stop play. That's why I use spawn sound. Of course you can make a location and attach and other options as well. In my case, spawn sound 2D. It's okay. And the reason why I use this is again that I can promote this to a variable and use this variable later to call stop, because you can stop this. And if you use the other node, which is play sound, for example this one, this is not working. You can see you have here no reference. We can't stop this, and we need to stop this probably. All right, this one you are spawning, just sound 2D, make a reference like we did already in one of my videos before, and then you connect this table from this table here, just here, which sound you want spawn. For here, instead of selecting here the sound manually, the table provides us now the sound which we want. That's it. And the same thing we do with the widget. But with the widget we have a problem. We have to set up here something. And the problem is the normal widget, when you create a widget, which let's say here create widget. The normal widget, when you create something, has, I don't know, widget blueprint. Let's say I create this story, right? This widget has no input. This one is standard when you create a widget, but we need an input here. Because why we need an input? We need an input because this data table provides us the text which the widget should show. I want that this widget, which I created here, let's go fast to our widget. It's open up here. This widget should spawn. This widget should be spawned. Yes, I will choose the one widget, but it should be spawned with the text depending on the position, right? That's very important. So if this position is here, I want, for example, spawn use lighter, the sound and also the text use lighter. If it's spawn here, perhaps I say, okay, it's dark. Spawn the text, it's dark, and the sound, it's dark. And you can see by default, it's not there. So we have to one more step, and this one more step is you go to the widget which you created, then you go here in widget to the graph. So we switch to the coding section. In the coding section, what we do in event graph, it looks more like so normally. There is nothing in it. You go here to the left side, In the left side, you go to variables, and very important, you create a new variable, and this variable must be not a local variable. That's also very important. You have to create a global variable, so don't make this local, because when you create now this string, which we want show later here, this one we want as an input. When you create it normal, this one will be still not visible, so you have to do one more step, which is you have to open up this eyes, and this opening up eyes means when you go here to the right side, you say instance editable, and I make this combination with exposed on spawn. So I make this combination. You don't have to probably both, but you activate this one here in details both. And when you activate this both, what happens is next time you have on this widget an input. So you have then compile all time, and if it's not showing, then perhaps you reset this widget and set it, or just create a new and then it will show. And yeah, that's it about the widget. And then you can just create this, and it looks like this. It looks similar like that, but let's create fast widgets. What you would normally do, widget here, create widget. Select the widget which you want. In my case, we are using now only one widget. It's this one here. Widget blueprint, use lighter. This one here, and you can see it spawns now because I set this one here. Expose. Here, as you select this here, this setting, that's very important. And with that set, you can now use the next line from your table here, and select it here and connect this here like you want. So for example, just connect here and then use it. All right, and of course add this to viewport, and then after this viewport I would go here to delay and then remove the widget, because I want that this text here is only for a short amount of time. So the player can go on to the next place and so on. All right, this one is almost finished. There is one more step, and this one more step is just what I showed you before, and that is, instead of using this one here all time, writing it again, we can just make this one a function and call it all time again. So you can see what you can do is right click here, select this one. Important is you have in between no inputs which you have to set, because if you have something to set in between, this is not working very well. But if you have nothing to set, and you can see in between, we just setting here at start one thing, and that's why this must be stay outside. Because this is changing all the time. Oops, this was not good. And this part must stay outside because we are using here a delay. Delays are not allowed in functions. That's why this part stays outside. And this is the only part which you can collapse to a function, which means in between we are not changing anything. This one we set only one time because we use one widget, and then you make something like this, right click, and then you can go to collapse to function here. And when you collapse to function, it looks like this, very clean, very easy and straightforward. And of course I should delete this because I already created a function, and I should just use my other function here. All right, new function, let's delete this one. And yes, this is the same thing, just instead of using this one. And you see this one is just a little bit cleaner. And important is this function we use here now for every section what we have. So oops, there is some widget. Yeah, I have here still connect this one as well. All right, okay, and make it a little bit more beauty. Sure, and we have it. Looks almost okay. And this one I do now for every step what I have here. So every time I add a box, I will add some instruction, sound, and yeah, that's it. So we can test this if this is working. So let's see. And I work in. This worked. Yeah, it worked. And this one I have not set up. This one, you can see this one have to be set up. It's not set up. That's also very important. Let me show you. This one important is when you set this up that here. Now I have probably to copy this line here anyhow and put it here and make here another sequence. Let me show you how you can make this. Just make this one here. Select this, Control C, Control V. So we copied this one. And here you just add another sequence pin. You connect this one here to here. Here you write your next tag. Let's check how to write the tag. For example, let's test this tag here. You put what you would normally do is you go first to your blueprint section. Let's go here. This is the blueprint which we want to use. And you say, hey, in this part, I want add a new instruction. Then you say, okay, here's my new instruction. Here is the blueprint. Important. You go here to details. You write here tag. And then you can see you have to add here a new tag. And let's say this tag is use, I call it use pistol now, or find pistol, something like that. Find pistol. All right, then we have this tag name, and now compile, set. And now what I have to use is change here this actor as tag to find pistol. Okay, find pistol. And then here you have to choose the right line, and my table has only 2. Of course, you would change this one, and changing the table is actually very easy. What you can do is just add here one line. You go here on plus. Let's change. Let's write here find pistol, and then you go down to this function part where you can set here this properties. Let's write here, for example, find pistol. I have not a find pistol sound. That's why I choose any sound, which is not so important, but let's do this. Let's say here, anything, story, anything, no, story, something like that. So that's not very important here. The sound you have later recorded and properly set it, but okay, I have it. And then what you can do here is we have now set this one. This one will be selected. This is okay. And actually we can test it if this is working. So let's compile this, start this. I run into this, working. Okay, we have here a problem with this overlapping text, because when one is coming and we are going to another place where we overlap again, we have to figure out the timing, or we make an interruption. But you can see a second time the do once node is working. And let's see this one here. And this one worked now too. That's find cultist. The text was not right. Why we have here find cultist? Because I have forgotten to specify this row name. Of course, I added here a table, find pistol. I have to update this one here too. Find pistol, for example, find pistol. All right, let's test this fast again if this is really working. And you can see I can now. All right, the find pistol is here, and that's working. It's working now, but important is here to see now I can just add here many instructions just with some clicks. Very simple. And the best part is we avoided creating a lot of blueprints. We create only this one blueprint. We create only this one widget, gameplay widget, and we replace all time it. The last very important thing which can a little bit annoying is on this tag system which Unreal uses. I mentioned it before, perhaps. This instant tag, careful, there is another tag system. When you go to the blueprint, open up the blueprint, not this one, the blueprint, where you go not to the widget, you go to the blueprint, here, go to the blueprint which we created, because these are the blueprints, and when you place it, then we are using an instance, and this is an instance tag. Careful, there is another tag which is not an instance tag, which is the class tag. What is the class tag? When you open up this blueprint, you go to class defaults, and in class defaults you can write here tag 2, right? And this tag is not the same tag as instance tag. This tag and this can confuse a little bit and can cause problems, because you say I write here my, I don't know what, let's write here find this, oops, let's write here find pistol, and let's write here anything. Oops, not here. I'm a little bit down. You go to tag, write a tag, sorry, and then you click plus and write here find anything. And this tag here is a global class tag, which means this one is not usable to distinguish from one blueprint to one blueprint. That's very important that you don't get mixed with this one. You have to use the instance tag, because every blueprint here which you place, every instance has also now this instance class tag. So when you open up this one instance here, you can go here to the outliner, right click, go to class defaults, and you can see this has also this one. And if you go to the other one, go is instance and see, go here to the class defaults, right tag, and every of them has now this find anything tag. So careful about this. This tag is a class tag. Don't use the class tag here to distinguish that. That will not work, at least not in my past prototyping. Perhaps there is a way. And use the instance tag here, which means you place the blueprint in the level, and after you determine your position, click in and use the tag. But that's I think that's very important. And with that said, we are finished with this one here, and yeah, we will go back in the next video to our let me show you. We made a little mistake in our overview. We are here in this block gameplay. We are going back to start game, and the reason for that is in start game we finished this blocks here a little bit, prototyping, and a little bit too bad, but we have not talked about save game, which we have to set up, and a little bit the basic style is also too bad. This basic style I make offline, but we have to talk about the save game. How we use it, which one we use it, because the horror engine has also a save game, or we are just creating our own save game. We will see it in the next video. All right, with that said, if you have any questions or any suggestions, just write in the comments so that we get all better. If not, then we see us in the next video, and like all time, have fun, good luck, and bye.